Closed captioning for the Casey Malone Show is sponsored by Hunter Stevens Land Title Agency. Integrity, service, and commitment you can trust.
Oh yeah, Casey Malone is serving up local. It's time for the stories of our region, the tastes, the sights, the sounds, and the people in and around the valley. Get ready for some local flavor on the Casey Malone Show.
Today, I bake up wild black bean brownies. They are delicious. But first, it's the Morel Foray, a day and night dedicated to finding, identifying, and cooking the morel, along with entertainment and camping. The Ohio Mushroom Festival held a morel foray at Joe Bottom's Camping in Hammondsville, Ohio. I joined other mushroom enthusiasts in search of the elusive morel. Mushroom guide Don King identified mushrooms and explained the best conditions and areas to find the mushrooms.
First of all, there are no mushrooms that are toxic to touch. So it's not like plants where you can touch some plants and they will sting you, or poison ivy can get on, there's lots of that kind of stuff. Even the most deadly mushrooms, you have to eat them, and generally you have to eat a significant amount for them to really affect you. If you see a mushroom growing on the ground in front of you, don't rush to get it, because you could step on 3 or 4 of them that you don't see.
Right now, are they blacks, grays, or yellows? What are we looking for in the morels at this time?
Probably, I would say the black morels are probably kind of petering out by now. They're the early species. Just to keep it simple, 4 species of morels in Ohio. The black morels come out first. They're cold tolerant. Then after that, you start to get the other 3 species that come in overlap. The smallest species is called a tulip morel, Morchella diminutiva. They don't get very big, but they can be fairly plentiful. So you might, they might not be very large, but you can usually find quite a few of them. We have the half-free morel that has a really long stem usually and a kind of a tiny cap. The last is the Morchella americana, which is technically the yellow morel, which gets very large. It's kind of the later season morel. Those are the ones that sometimes you can see are 12, 14 inches tall. They can also be gray in color, so some people will call them gray morels. They are not gray morels. We do not have gray morel, a species of gray morel in Ohio. Regardless of what a lot of people think, that's just not the case. Morels do tend to associate with certain trees, but that is not always the case. Look for, and when we get to these, I'll point them out. Cherry, sycamore, ash and elm are good. Hickory, tulip poplars are also really good. But they can just grow, again, they can grow out of the gravel, they can grow in the middle of the grass, with trees nowhere nearby. They can kind of do their own thing.
Grapevines too.
Grapevines tend to be a good, actually, in honeysuckle, which a lot of, if they're in combination with some other trees, can be good. Sycamore is also a good tree. The black cherry is one of the darkest trees that you're going to see in Ohio. Really scaly. I find tons of morels around black cherry. Last weekend I found probably, 40 or 50, all 4 species of morels in the same day, all right near black cherry and tulip poplar.
Well, I wish I had something to show. Hey, Tom, before you go up anymore, I want you to look at this. Tom, do you think this is a dried out morel?
Yeah, it looks like it from here.
I found it, but then there was nothing by it. What should I do with this? Should I grind it up and try to get the spores back into the earth? There we go. Spreading. Hopefully the spores will produce more. All right, well, nothing. Skrabats. Nada. We went all the way up. These conditions seem ideal. I just don't get it, Tom. I mean, okay, well, the group is gathering. We're going to our second spot, and this might be the honey hole.
First morel I ever tried was one that Vint brought us.
But I'm glad he brought up about don't eat them raw. Because that lady in Oregon died.
They're like even the ones that we grow, like you really just can't digest them. They're I think a couple of the ones that we grow, you could eat them.
But the
raw,
flavor
I don't
is
know why
really
you
when
would.
you cook
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
You know, adding a little bit of herbs and of course
the flavor
garlic.
definitely.
Oh, you know what?
Is that ram?
It might be.
Is it? Looks like
I don't know. Vint gets those all the time.
No.
No, it's not a ram.
I'm gonna die! I just ate something that's not what I thought.
Do not try this at home.
I thought it was a ram.
She
Tino.
is
I'm
not
gonna
a
die
professional.
wherever
Do not
it is.
try this at home.
What did you eat?
Oh my God, you
She
got
doesn't
that?
know. She doesn't know.
I don't know.
I'll catch you. Jeff.
Winner, chicken
Oh.
dinner. Oh, that's cool.
Oh, it's one of those,
Yeah,
what's it called?
Oyster. Is that an oyster?
the one that he said he actually.
It's really a pretty one. Look at how
That is
pretty
really
it is.
cool.
Yeah.
It's fresh.
It is a pretty one. We'll have to see what
We'll have to
they
see
say
what,
it is
you know.
for sure. Yeah, definitely.
That's beautiful. That is a beautiful.
There's some smaller ones.
Cinnabar polypore. Cinnabar polypore.
Ouch.
All right, so rainbow somewhere. Okay,
They can't identify it.
will you? I'm gonna be the surgeon. Will you guide me? Do I go like right along the side here? Oh, these are those. Okay,
That might not be edible.
Don King
That
said.
might be the poison one.
Well, he did say, remember? He was
Yeah,
giving
the
us
one
there's
orange
a
one.
Like the
Rusty
black
orange
mamba.
one.
That's yeah, he did. Were you not paying attention?
Look at your face. You have to-
Apparently, because you can tell by the.
Yeah,
you
he
lick
said
it?
you can hold.
Did you already
I'm
taste
gonna
it?
eat it.
No.
You guys just let me know what happens.
Pumpkin cookie.
You better go get some of those lamb's ears or
Yeah,
whatever it's
lamb's ear
called.
for the
Wow, the
internal
color
bleeding.
here.
My buddy Nate.
Freckles.
Thank you, Nate. My buddy Nate got this for me for Christmas.
Oh,
Me
it'll be
and
like
my
pumpkin
big bag, which now has,
No,
I'm
not
gonna put two
necessarily.
things in it, okay?
Yeah.
That is, where was it, like by a tree? On a
Down
tree.
by the river. Down by dead trees. like
Down
that.
by the river, yeah.
That's where
In a
Bill-
van, in a little van, down by the river. You got a tick.
Do I really?
Is that a tick?
That was a tick on your face. Okay, fellow Shroomers are here. Tyler and Jenna both came all the way in from Sandusky. And they're the first people here today, I believe, to have found morels. Now tell me, what is the condition you found this? Where was the setup?
So we actually found a deer carcass first.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we started looking around. It was like a deer skull, like a whole like full on like ribs and everything, and like
Cool.
around it. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So just those three.
Yeah, following something interesting
Dead
and just looking
deer.
around.
Yep. I mean,
that
it was
was-
clean. Like the bones were
Yeah, we were-
clean. It's been there for a while.
We were
They
both
like,
like squatting around it, and we were like kind of looking around where we were at, just like on the ground floor. And I was like, "Hey, Jenna, look over there."
yeah.
That is so cool. Now what are you gonna do with these?
We don't know yet.
Yeah.
We're gonna stare at
Show
them
people.
and admire
We're gonna
them.
stare
them
at
like
them.
this.
You guys are gonna get a prize when we get back to camp. I think we're gonna have to reward you.
The Casey Malone Show will be right back with more local flavor.
Last year, 115 local people took their own lives, with the majority of those individuals being men.
You can help someone who is feeling suicidal by listening without judging them.
Understand that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to ask for help.
If you think that life is better without you, or that you can't go on one more day, please give yourself more time, because life is better with you in it.
If you or somebody you know is struggling, call or text 988 today.
For over 75 years, Kamara Jewelers has been the destination for quality jewelry. Our collection has a piece for everyone, in every occasion. Whether you're starting a new chapter, celebrating a milestone, or showing appreciation for the special people in your life, you can find a piece that reflects your love. At Kamara, we're about timelessness. Our jewelry isn't just for special occasions, it's for everyday moments that deserve a touch of elegance.
Rulli Brothers has a great choice of quality cheeses. We use our relationship with Old World Houses to specially select the product and then have it custom cut and packaged by our own local artisans. At Rulli Brothers Market, our family is in the store.
We are getting close. Scaba Camp is almost here. A year-round destination for adults with disabilities and their families to get away, close to home. Accessible to all, with no barriers. Donate now to Scaba Camp. Help others to enjoy this unique recreational destination for adults with disabilities and their families to enjoy an accessible camping experience. Donate to Scaba Camp. Giving is living.
After the hike, mushrooms were identified, what's edible, what's poisonous, and a feast was prepared for all by Amy Adams, owner of Peace Blends Artisan Spices, with the mushrooms donated by our friends at A Tip of the Cap Mushrooms. And despite the lack of morels found, everyone really enjoyed the foray.
These are the featherbacks.
Pheasant backs.
Or pheasant,
yeah,
sorry,
pheasant
backs.
Well, it's a good, I mean, it's easy to say that because they do look like feathers, right? The pattern on there does kind of have like a feathering.
And then it has like really cool furriness to it, you know?
So this type of mushroom is called a polypore, which is generally a group of mushrooms that grow off of dead wood, like trees and logs, and they don't usually have gills. They have pores.
Okay.
And so what you're seeing is this kind of, these holes opening up underneath because that's how the spores are gonna get shot out. So,
okay, so does it take a lot longer to cook these, right? I mean, these are pretty hardy.
These are really dense. This one here is kind of past prime for cooking.
Okay.
See how the cap is upturned?
And it's starting to,
kind
yellow.
of curl up. Generally, we want to find mushrooms before that happens.
So this is a good one.
Yeah, so this is an oyster mushroom. It's also a little past prime. It's a pretty big mushroom. Got a couple bugs on there.
Yeah.
Oyster mushrooms are a pretty popular, pretty significant spring mushroom. They do have gills underneath.
That is cool. It's so pretty.
This is getting kind of old, so it's starting to turn yellow.
So what should we do with it?
We're gonna take this back to ID it at the ID table. They're gonna do all that back there.
And then what kind is this?
Yeah, this thing is called a black-footed polypore. Also kind of an interesting, very pretty mushroom.
Right, beautiful.
Feel that it's rubbery as
heck. Oh my gosh, it's like leather.
That is not even that, and that's how they always are. This is not old necessarily. This is an inedible mushroom. It's not toxic. It is just impossible to cook it enough. Yeah, there's a little slug on there. Slugs love mushrooms, so you often find those on there. This is not an edible mushroom, but kind of a pretty interesting little thing.
It's cute.
Ink cap mushrooms, they're called that because the caps will literally turn to like black goo. And that's how they spread their spores. They don't care about the spores getting like taken by wind. They they basically want the spores to be washed down
there
and taken downhill somewhere else.
We've got some big morels down here. These are probably Morchella americana. Some of the big morel species are a little bit difficult to tell apart. Some of the easier ones to differentiate though are the black morels. They are Morchella angusticeps. And they seem to really like black cherry from what I understand. I've also found them under white pine. If you find these, you're very fortunate because they tend to come back in the exact same spot every year. So mark that honey hole when you find them.
Amy from Peace Blends is doing all the cooking for this fest, and man, I mean, your team is at it. How many are you feeding today?
150 plus staff, so around 200 total.
And it's always vegetarian and vegan when you're dealing with this.
Yes.
And our buddies from Tip of the Cap Mushrooms, they're the ones that donated all the mushrooms for this.
Yes.
So this is a great thing.
Yeah, I got 40 pounds of mushrooms from them. So
40?
Yes.
And that will go pretty far away.
It will, yeah.
And you might remember, Amy, a million, trillion, gazillion years ago, she was on with me when she was with Lake to River, but now you started your own business. This is awesome.
Thank you.
So what are we going to be enjoying today?
Okay, so for your special meal today, I have some chive einkorn porridge. And this is einkorn flour that was grown and milled in Pennsylvania. It's Amish einkorn, so it's kind of like a cream of wheat. So that's going to be your nice base layer.
Okay, einkorn.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a low gluten index, so it's pretty popular among people that have gluten intolerance.
Okay.
All right, and then next up, I have some beautiful morels for you over here.
I mean, you ought to see this pan. You gotta open the whole pan and show.
Yes.
Look at this, Gino. Look at this.
So
look at this.
This is the biggest morel Vint has ever found. And he's been at this a long time.
I know.
Yes, so we have the biggest morel ever here. And this is stuffed with
What did you stuff it with?
Smoked jalapeno and cream cheese.
Oh, wow.
And then I shoved a big old hunk of bacon in the end to keep the cream cheese in there. And then we have some fiddlehead ferns here.
Fiddlehead ferns. I saw
heard that you were a fan of those.
Yes.
And then all of the bacon that is in here is from out by Tionesta, Pennsylvania. I got it on a camping trip. So everything in the menu is local.
I love it. We're eating local for sure.
And then over here, I have some warm bacon vinaigrette that we're gonna pour over top of this for you.
Oh, this is amazing. And you do catering, right?
I do, yeah. So I do it mostly for people that I really like and my friends. But
Okay.
I have a couple of events coming up this summer. My website will be launching in the next couple of weeks.
Now, what is your background?
So I've been a chef for almost 20 years now. I've worked at a lot of different local restaurants as a head chef. I've worked at Lake to River Food Co-op for a while.
Right.
And just kind of bounced around. So, and the whole time my focus has been local food.
And so what made you go into the, okay, sorry, I gotta eat this. Oh my gosh.
Is it good?
That is amazing. Tell me, what is the proper preparation for the fiddlehead ferns? Because they aren't they tough? You have to cook them for a while.
Yeah, so the morels, a little bit of the bacon, and then the fiddleheads, I all just kept in a saute pan, lots of butter, kind of low and slow, kept a lid on it to get them nice and steamed, and just let them go for a while. I did pour a little bit of the bacon vinaigrette in there to kind of get that flavor going.
And you keep the fur, I call it fur.
That's more of a Vint question. Did you pull the fur off of the fiddleheads?
The fur on them?
Yeah, there's
Well,
like the husk that
sometimes
goes
they're
on
like
them
that.
a little bit.
There's like a little beard. I don't know what you call that.
That paper on the,
Yeah.
I peel the paper off.
Okay.
The Christmas ferns are a little furrier, but we go after the ostrich ferns.
Nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
good question. Good answer. I saw a lot of those today. They're coming up, but I couldn't find any morel.
I've not been lucky enough for morel
no,
either.
but I'll have to go with Vint.
We
Because
do,
Vint's
that
the
is
only one that
true.
can find them.
That is true.
We still have some of the Americanas.
This is Vint, and he's the one who organized this whole thing. And honest to God, you hear his name like a million gazillion times. Well, that's Vint. Oh, Vint. Oh, Vint. And nobody can find anything except for Vint. Oh, the ramps, those are Vint. I like ate a bad ramp. I mean, I don't know. But I'm gonna start hanging around with
he
him
has
a
a
little
special
more.
relationship with the woods, that's for sure.
He does.
So he turned me on to his ramp spot for this meal, and I mean, it was just acres of ramps.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's
he didn't
got all
turn
the
me
good
on
spots.
anything. Takes a picture of the biggest morel I've ever seen.
It's on the Mahoning
Yeah,
River as
in the-
well.
It's on the Mahoning River in Mahoning County. That's all I got.
Yep, good
and
luck.
then he takes the picture. I'm like, what are you taunting me for? And I had a GPS. I'm going to start putting a GPS on him. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start tracking him, Megan.
Sleep my car now.
The Casey Malone Show will be right back with more local flavor. Locally sourced is good, whether it's ingredients or a bank, and that's why my bank is Farmers National Bank. Since 1887, Farmers has remained rock solid through every economic condition. Having a bank with a history of safety, soundness, and conservative management is a must. It all boils down to this. You need a bank that will help you reach your goals. I do too, and Farmers is mine. Farmers National Bank, rock solid.
I'm Elizabeth Bernard. For more than 30 years, I've provided our Valley with sound legal advice. My associate Jennifer Rigetti and I will be your legal representatives if you're involved in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident. Don't try to handle it yourself. We'll navigate the red tape of dealing with doctors, medical insurance, and all the obstacles that you'll face. Remember, there are no upfront fees on personal injury cases, and hiring a lawyer does not mean you have to go to court.
Call attorney Elizabeth Bernard, local legal experience for more than 30 years.
Locally owned, Hurricane Health and Wellness will help you weather the storm of your weight loss struggles. Safe and discreet, our experienced telemed team will prescribe the proper weight loss medication. Powerful weight loss solutions. Hurricane Health and Wellness.
You better come on in my kitchen.
Well, today I'm going to make for you a very interesting recipe. A while back, I was at a bridal shower and this really nice lady was in from Virginia and we were just talking and it came up, of course, food and recipes. And I guess she's gluten intolerant. And usually I was like, ooh, yuck, you know, you poor people can't eat flour and all that stuff. And she says, well, you know, actually I have this really great recipe for brownies and there's, you know, no gluten in it. And I call them my wild brownies. And so she sent me the recipe. And it's really good. It's got a black bean base, raw sugar, and it really is a nice recipe. And I made it a few times. Super easy, comes together quickly. And I'm gonna share it with you today. Thank you, Terry McVeigh. And she calls them wild black bean brownies. So let's go over the ingredients and we're gonna make this dish. You're gonna like it even if you're not gluten intolerant. For this recipe, you'll need 1 can of black beans drained, 3 eggs, 3 tablespoons of coconut oil melted, 1/4 cup cocoa or carob powder, a pinch of salt, 3/4 cup of raw sugar or maple syrup, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 drops of peppermint extract, and 1/2 cup of milk chocolate chips. So I've preheated the oven to 350 degrees. This is an 8x8 pan, and I greased it with the coconut oil. And to use this in the recipe, I melted the coconut oil, and I'm just gonna let it cool off just a little bit before it solidifies though. So it goes together either in a blender or use it in your food processor because you're gonna need the blades to really mash down these beans. So we'll put the beans in the dish and everything really just goes in. 3 eggs, and then the cocoa powder. You know, it all goes in except for the chocolate chips. The sugar, I'm using sugar in the raw, and I use that a lot. I like that sugar. And then the vanilla and the salt. And I need 3 tablespoons of this. So it's 1, 2, and 3. Now all I have to do is add the peppermint. This is nice. It kind of tastes like French mint, you know, like the Girl Scout cookies, Thin Mints. It really adds a nice flavor. And all you need is 2 drops. 1, ooh, I missed the bowl. Okay, so 1, 2, might be a little more pepperminty, but it's good. All right, so now I get this on here and you just let it run. Now remember, I'm gonna taste it in a minute, but really let it run because you wanna break down the beans and you don't want the grit because it's a heavier sugar. All right, I'm gonna take a little taste to make sure everything's smooth. Still a little bit of grit, a little bit longer. Well, now this is done. So just make sure you really blend it because you don't want it to be gritty at all. You want to make sure the beans are broken down and the sugar. And then I have the prepared pan right here. I am just going to pour that in. And we're going to try to get every bit of the batter out of here. So I will scrape it from, oh, I don't even know where to put this thing, the blade. And we'll get it from the bowl. Well, you notice the only thing I didn't add was the chips, and these get sprinkled on top. Now, she called for milk chocolate, but I like dark chocolate, so I'm using those. But it works just as well. So you just sprinkle them all over the top, try to evenly distribute them. And you know, she said a half cup, but if you want more chocolate, I don't think it's gonna hurt the recipe at all. But it really does, you're gonna be surprised. These are a little dense, and they're really good. I mean, I've given them to my friends when they come over, and they don't even, you know, think that there's anything different about these brownies than the ones you get out of the box. So we'll just finish this off. I've preheated the oven again to 350 degrees, and I'll put those in 30-35 minutes. You want it to start pulling away from the sides, and you want the top to look a little dry. So look, isn't this beautiful? I mean, look how pretty it came out. And I know I should have waited and probably let it cool down a little bit more, but I kind of like it when you get the gooiness from the chips on top. This is really good. And you saw how easy it is and how quickly it came together. And I mean it, it's really dense, really chocolatey. You could probably leave the peppermint out, but I do like the peppermint in there because it tastes like a thin mint cookie. And warm with a little bit of ice cream, this is delicious. I really want to thank Terry for sharing this recipe with me because it is a winner. It's called her Wild Black Bean Brownies, and that will be on my website, CaseyMaloneShow.com. Look this recipe up. You are really going to like it. Cheers.
The Casey Malone Show is sponsored in part by Denise and John York and the DeBartolo Corporation.